Whether you are visiting the Black Hills or living the Black Hills are chock full of things to do, see, and experience. And today we're going to talk about my top 25 things to do, see, and experience in the Black Hills. Hey everybody, I'm Tristan Emond with Mindful Living Realty, a realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota, the gateway to the Black Hills. My top 25 includes some of the most popular things to see, as well as a few of my favorite local ones at the end. So stick around to check out Tristan's picks at the end. First of all, you've got the monuments. I mean, can you even come to the Black Hills without seeing Mount Rushmore? But don't just see Mount Rushmore, make sure you spend some time. There's a walking path that kind of goes around in front of the faces. There's the sculptor studio, which you can see some of the history of making of Mount Rushmore. And don't forget, you gotta get some ice cream. They've got some of the best ice cream up there at Mount Rushmore. I know, crazy, right? You go into the gift shop, look down at the hardwood floor. I helped install the hardwood floor, so you can be like, yeah, Tristan was here. And after Mount Rushmore, go check out Crazy Horse. If you're here at a certain time of the year, they have what's called the Volks March, where you can actually walk right up to the face of Crazy Horse. Check out their visitor center, all the history and information there. And up there, there's also a friend of mine who is selling Native American dream catchers, made herself. Really cool stuff. Both Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse are open all year long. And don't forget to check out their evening displays. Mount Rushmore has a lighting ceremony and Crazy Horse has a laser light show. Now I've seen both of these from far away and they're okay, but it's so much better to be on location so you can hear the presentation. Part 2, the attractions. Reptile Gardens is fun. I don't care how old you are. We went a number of years ago with the kids and my wife and I really enjoyed it too. Make sure you schedule enough time in your day so that you go to see all the shows. There's a raptor show, there's a crocodile show. We got to pet a little baby crocodile. Plus you get to pet the tortoise and pop your head up and see all the prairie dogs. So a lot of fun things to do. And that big dome you see as you drive by, that's a tropical paradise with lots of birds, snakes, and all sorts of other creatures just kind of wandering around. Next, there's Bear Country. Bear Country is a drive-through wildlife park. Now we went one year when it was like super hot in the middle of the day and the bears were just laying around on the trees, which was kind of funny to see, but they weren't doing a whole lot of anything. So go a little bit earlier or a little bit later when it's not so hot so you can see all the activity of the animals, and take the vehicle with the biggest windows so you can see all of the different animals all the way through. At the end though is the best part. You get out of the car and you walk around the little baby area where you can see the baby bears playing, the baby otters doing their things, and really that's the highlight of the Bear Country experience. Finally, check out the 1880 train, which goes from Hill City to Keystone. This old-fashioned locomotive winds through the Black Hills, tooting its horn along the way as it crosses over roads, and is a fun old-time experience. Now, I have heard of some of the younger kids that get bored because after you get past the novelty of being on the train, it's just the scenery of the Black Hills. But certainly one of the coolest Black Hills adventures on the 1880 train. Part 3, Scenic Drives. The first one on my list is Iron Mountain Road. This road is famous for a number of really hairpin turns called the pigtails. Plus there's a few tunnels that you can go through, and as you're going through the tunnel, you look right into Mount Rushmore. Then there's Needles Highway. This drive goes into Custer State Park and is called Needles Highway because of one rock that has a needle's eye in the top of it. Plus it goes through this area called the Cathedral Spires with all these really cool tall rock formations. Take the time to stop in some of the pullouts, take some hikes on some of the trails, and really take the time to enjoy all the scenery of the Needles Highway. Finally, you've got Wildlife Loop in Custer State Park. This is the road where you see those free-range buffalo wandering around and even the burros. Now, there are signs that say buffalo are dangerous, do not approach. Tourists get hurt each and every year from getting outside of the car trying to get closer to the buffalo. They're wild, they're gonna cause some damage if they're irritated. Get in your car, enjoy the drive. And just like Bear Country, if you go during the heat of the day, you might see a little bit less activity than earlier morning or later in the afternoon. And a quick note on these scenic drives. They're windy. If you or your kids have a tendency to get car sick, that can happen. My kids usually like to sit up in front so they don't get car sick. Now you could do Iron Mountain Road and Needles Highway in the same day. It's possible, but really you probably don't want to. You probably want to start with one, take your time and really enjoy that. Plus, there's not a lot of food around the area. Bring a picnic lunch so you can stop along the way. There might not be a picnic area, but there's plenty of Black Hills boulders around for you to make your own picnic table. Section 4, let's take a drive. While you're in the Black Hills, there's a couple of cool things to see that's just a short drive away. Starting with the Badlands. The Badlands are like this otherworldly place. If you're traveling from Sioux Falls, you can spend half a day driving through the park and going on some of the trails. If you're coming from the west, it's about an hour drive from Rapid City to the Badlands, so you can make a day trip of it where you spend a day exploring the Badlands and still make it back by dark. However, the Badlands have amazing stars. There's very little light pollution out there, so you can see the galaxies all the time. Amazing stars in the Badlands. The second day trip is Devil's Tower. This is about 2.5 hour drive from Rapid City, and it's easy enough to make it into a day trip, unless you plan on climbing the thing like one of my friends did. Devil's Tower is known to be the first national monument, and it's also known to be Area 18 alien invasion. While you're there, you take the path around the tower and enjoy climbing on the rocks, and at the end you can check out the shops. It's kind of funny because there's two of them, one that sticks primarily with the national monument and the very historical scientific side of things, and the other one, hardcore alien, which of course I really like the alien one. That was a lot of fun. There are also hotels and campgrounds up there if you'd like to stay during the night. Part number 5, let's have some fun. This section is important for you who have kids who want to go do something. They don't want to just look at scenery. They don't just want to go hikes, right? They want to go do something. So first of all, check out the aerial park in Keystone. At this park, it's got a tramway that takes you up so you can see Mount Rushmore from a distance. It's got an alpine side that you can slide down. They've got zip lines and an aerial park where you can climb across boards and wires and that type of thing. Down the road a little bit from the aerial park is Rush Mountain. This not only hosts Rushmore Cave, which is one of the easier caves and more suitable for kids, but it also has a roller coaster and a lot of other fun things for kids to do at Rush Mountain. And maybe you've got a dead day down in your schedule for the kids to get wet. In Rapid City, we have Watiki Water Park, which is between 2 hotels, but you can get your ticket to get in for a day and go through all the different water slides and indoor water park. If you're in a Spearfish, Spearfish has a water park as well. That looks like it'd be a lot of fun. I've never been there, but I drive by and like, that looks like fun. You can also take the kids to one of Rapid City's many outdoor pools or the indoor pool at the rec center. Part number 6. Let's rent something. Whether you're in Spearfish, Hill City, or Custer, there are numerous places all around where you can rent ATVs, UTVs, 4 persons, 6 persons, 8 persons, and start going on the trails all over the Black Hills. Now you do have to get a license to go on the trails, and the rental places will help you with that. And please stay on the trails. Also at a couple of these ATV shops are these slingshot cars. Open air, 3-wheel vehicles. That would be amazing to drive over one of those drives we just talked about a little while ago. And then you can rent bikes. There are places all over the Black Hills to rent either e-bikes or just regular bikes. Once you get those bikes rented, go down Mickelson Trail. Mickelson Trail is a maintained gravel path that goes all the way from Deadwood all the way down to Edgemont, South Dakota. There's a number of trailheads along the way, so you can jump in at any spot and feel the wind as you ride through the Black Hills. Some of these rental companies will also shuttle you to a certain spot, so you don't have to go so far, turn around and come back. And then rent a kayak. One of the most beautiful lakes in the Black Hills is Sylvan Lake in Custer State Park. Next to the launch, they got all sorts of watercrafts that you can rent, jump in, and cruise around Sylvan Lake. And finally, rent a boat. The 2 main lakes in the middle of the Black Hills, Pactola Lake and Sheridan Lake, both have boats that you can rent from the marina. Most of these are pontoons that you can rent and spend all day on the lake. Plus they have things like tube rentals and ski rentals, a lot of other things to enjoy your time on the lake. You can also rent boats and jet skis and canoes at Good Life Lake Rental down on Angostura Reservoir, which is south of Hot Springs. Part 7, let's go hiking. An easy and historical trail in the Black Hills is the Flume Trail. This dates back to the 1880s when the miners were using this area as a flume, an actual flume for the water to run down to their mines. You can actually see parts of where the flume was in this walk. Plus you walk through a couple of timber tunnels, which is really cool. It's not too far from Sheridan Lake, so you could leave your family playing on the lake while you take the hike. Then you can tackle parts of the Centennail Trail. When I say parts, I mean you're gonna do the whole thing. The Centennail Trail is a 111-mile walking path from Bear Butte all the way down to Wind Cave. Just like the Mickelson Trail, there are a number of trailheads along the way, and these trails take you through the heart of the Black Hills. My son and I took the Centennail Trail from Pactola Lake all the way down to Sheridan Lake. My son thought it was 7 miles. Turns out it was closer to 12. But somehow, we survived, and we saw some pretty cool stuff along the way. Part 8, Waterfalls. Spearfish Canyon is the place to go if you want to check out waterfalls. First of all, there's Bridalveil Falls, then there's Spearfish Falls, and my favorite is Rough Lock Falls. You can either drive up to Rough Lock Falls, or you can take the hike, about a mile hike along the creek to get to Rough Lock Falls. And while you're in Spearfish Canyon, check out 11th Hour Trail. This isn't really a waterfall, but you've got water dripping down the edges of the canyon as you walk through, and you're going up ladders and pulling yourself up on ropes. And it's a really fun trail. It's kind of hard to even find. Part 9, let's go swimming in a Black Hills lake. Now, as a guy from Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes, who lived 6 miles away from a lake that we spent a lot of time on, I'm used to those big lakes with big sandy beaches all the way around. Now, the majority of your lakes in the Black Hills area are pretty rocky. They do have a beach area built in, but Angostura has got that beach quite a bit of the ways around and a lot more of that sandy beach feel like a Minnesota lake. Plus, it's a lot warmer than the mountain lakes. But you can't beat the refreshing coolness of jumping into a Black Hills lake with trees everywhere. My favorite one to swim in is Center Lake in Custer State Park. This has got a really big established beach, some playground areas, some great bathrooms, picnic areas, great place to hang out for you and your family if you need to spend a day at the lake enjoying. Plus, the lake isn't that big, so it's really great to float around. The kids can get from one side to the other, and it just makes for a really enjoyable time. Plus, there's a trail walking all the way around the lake, and on the far side of the lake is another really cool waterfall. All right, it's time for section 10, and that's Tristan's picks. Now, local people, don't worry. I'm not going to reveal any of those super local things that only local people know from a local person. Poets Table used to be one of these great super local hikes. It was this hike that wasn't well defined, and you had to know somebody to tell you how to get there. Once you were there, there was a table and a lot of really cool things around the area. One day, someone took those things and stole everything. So therefore, I'm not going to reveal those super secret local hints. The first one is the rock maze. Now, there's really some big rocks that have split, and you can get in and walk in between the rocks. I mean, the rocks are probably 6 foot tall. And then you can climb on top and see all the veins and kind of pop back in. It'd be a great place for like capture the flag. So check out the rock maze, which is right across from Steamboat Park. And while you're at Steamboat Rock Park off Mtn Road, have a picnic lunch and then climb up Steamboat Rock. It's a great view of the valley up on top of the rock. My second pick is Iron Creek Lake. If you haven't figured out already, I love lakes. This lake is tucked away from everything else, really kind of private. Starting at Spearfish, and you're going south about 45 minutes on a gravel trail until you get to this picturesque lake that's just beautiful. It's that perfect lake to find the floaty and just lay on the lake all day long. And my third pick for number 25 is Devil's Bathtub. Now, this also is in Spearfish Canyon, and now they've made a big parking lot for it, so it's relatively easy to find. It's about a mile hike in, along the river, through the canyon, until this point where a natural waterfall flows down into a pool where you can slide down the waterfall into the pool. Fun place to visit. Wear shoes you don't mind getting wet, because even following the trail, there's a couple places where you're gonna get your feet wet. Plus, when you're up there, you're gonna wanna slide into the bathtub. That's all there is to it. All right, there you have it, my top 25 picks for things to do, see, and experience in the Black Hills while you're visiting or when you've just moved here. Now, you're probably not gonna be able to do all these things in one trip. Choose the ones that say, yes, I wanna do that, and do the rest another time. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and remember, love where you live.